Welcome, traders, to the SPACs attack. Let's get it started. What's going on, traders? Welcome to the SPACs attack, where we talk everything SPACs. And I got my man, the brains of the show, Chris Katje. What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? It's good to be back after, no show Thursday and Friday. But I know I sure did enjoy that Benzinga Global Small Cap Conference where, I got to see some presentations from some great companies. So, definitely worth sitting out a couple days to take part in that.
Yeah, definitely. Something we're going to definitely keep an eye out and watching over this next couple of weeks is going to be how those small caps companies actually go and then get some of them are going to go up, some of them are going to go down. But one of the things is that you could have got is the information to make that trading investment. So definitely check it out, guys, if you missed it. All right, let's go ahead and let's get right into our headlines of the day. I want to definitely say shout out to everyone out there. Yes, Sean H. We will talk about SEAH coming right up, guys.
All right, guys. Yeah, so let's dive into some headlines. We do have a couple deals to get into today, but taking the best of the headlines from Thursday, Friday, and this morning. So up first, we have SEAH. So merging with Super Group. This is a sports betting company. So their unit, Betway, announced over the weekend that they entered into a multi-year U.S. partnership with the National Hockey League. So that made Betway an official sports betting partner of the NHL. They're able to use logos, and that content started already on Saturday with the start of the NHL playoffs. I know I saw Betway's logo on the ice, on billboards around rinks. So definitely high visibility for them during the NHL playoffs, and that's going to continue for future years. So a good start here for SEAH with that U.S. expansion expected for Super Group and unit Betway. Then we have VACQ. So VACQ bringing Rocket Lab public. So they actually had a launch failure last week. So they said an issue was experienced during today's launch, resulting in the loss of the mission. We are deeply sorry to our launch customers, Black Sky and Spaceflight. The issue occurred shortly after stage 2 ignition. More information will be provided as it becomes available. So remember that Black Sky, one of their partners, that's SFTW, also a SPAC merger. So it looks like a couple of their satellites were actually lost in this mission. So not sure how this shakes out financially and what's to come. But definitely we'll probably see some pressure on VACQ moving forward here after that launch failure. Then we had some earnings today. So we have STEM, STEM, sales of 15.4 million, up significantly from 4.1 million last year. No surprise, as again, they are ramping up quickly. They reiterated their full year revenue outlook of 147 million. So keep an eye out on STEM today after that earnings report. Then we have LEVE, Lion Electric, which recently completed that D-SPAC. I do own shares of this company. So sales of $6.2 million, up from 1.23 million last year, up over 400% again as they ramp up. And then they also announced a new deal this morning. So it's their largest zero emission school bus order, 260 buses. The deal is with First Student, which is the largest student transportation provider in North America. So again, this is for 260 all-electric Lion C school buses, the largest order of school buses by a single customer in Lion's history. And this order will make First Student the largest operator of zero-emission school buses in North America. Those deliveries expected to take place 2021 through 2023. and that is for the Canadian market. And we have Hims and Hers, ticker HIMS. They reported, or they see second quarter sales of 55 to 57 million, ahead of an estimate of 50 million. And then they are guiding for that full year revenue between 221 million to 227 million. That's significantly higher than a street estimate of 202 million right now. So it looks like maybe Hims could see some positive sentiment, as it looks like that guidance, coming in ahead of where the street expects. Shares have been beaten down, so keep an eye out on Hims. We have Kappa, which is merging with Quantum-Si, setting a merger date for June 9th, which we'll add to our calendar, which we'll get to in a minute here. And we had earnings from highly anticipated Clover Health, CLOV. So they reported first quarter sales of 200.3 million. That beat an estimate of 166.2 million. And they see full year sales 810 million to 830 million versus a street estimate of 822 million. But they're also getting attacked again by Hindenburg today, who's already had a short report out against them. So they talked about how Clover Health said in their original investor presentation that they had 200,000 Medicare Direct contracting members. It looks like now that guidance is calling that not a for sure number, and saying that they could potentially hit that number. So it looks like maybe the wording a little off in that investor presentation. So Hindenburg, pulling the punches today. Shares of Clover were up this morning. They are dropping now. So it looks like Hindenburg, out again. But again, they did. That guidance is ahead of street estimates, but still, some of those numbers called into question from the investor presentation. So keep an eye out. We turn to our deals. So up first, we have SCVX, bringing Bright Machines public. Bright Machine is a leader in intelligent software-defined manufacturing, an innovative approach to manufacturing automation by combining proprietary software with adaptive hardware to automate repetitive tasks. BMW is an investor in this company. So again, founded in 2018, software and data first approach to factory operations. This is a 3D printing play. And, they have a portfolio of 36 patent filings that give them a competitive advantage, 25 global blue chip customers across several industries, including network infrastructure, data centers, automotive, consumer products, medical devices, and industrial. They've doubled revenue each year since their inception in 2018, and their compounded annual growth of revenue projections of 84% from 2020 to 2025. So revenue of 54 million expected for 2021, 85 million for 2022. Company valued at $1.15 billion, though, which looks a little high compared to those revenue estimates. So keep an eye out on this one. Wasn't getting much action this morning on that deal announcement. Looks like we're down 1% right now. And then our other deal announced today, Seaport Global, that's SGAM, bringing Redbox public. Redbox, of course, the DVD rental kiosk company that was previously publicly traded as Outer Wall. So this values the company at $693 million. A $50 million pipe includes investments from Screen Vision, Thunder Road, Legendary Entertainment, and Lionsgate Entertainment. Apollo Global will remain the majority owner. Current shareholders of Seaport Global SGAM shares will own 25.8% of the new company. So Redbox has over 40,000 kiosks and 150 retail partners. They're the largest DVD rental kiosk company, 39 million loyalty members, a database of 446 million customers, and then 43 million customers have downloaded the app. They have 7 million followers across social media, 6 billion DVDs rented over the last 18 years. 90% of Americans live within 5 minutes of a Redbox kiosk. So they said that the SPAC deal will help them accelerate their technology development, content acquisitions, and marketing initiatives. They launched Redbox Entertainment to bring exclusive and original content to viewers. currently launched 16 titles, 26 in development, and they want to release 36 new exclusive titles annually. They're seeking to transform from a legacy DVD business to a digital entertainment company, similar to a move that Netflix made. Their app also allows some free movie rentals. And one of the things I saw in the presentation was that they also offer some premium television subscription services that people can subscribe right through that app, so they can partner with SVOD players. Showtime was an example. They did a test run and 62,000 people subscribed to Showtime directly from the Redbox app. So over 3 million customers have taken part in Redbox TVOD expansion. Revenue of $829 million in 2019. In 2020, $546 million revenue. And they're guiding for $498 million in 2021, $906 million in 2022. Digital revenue of $70 million in 2021, $193 million in 2022. Positive adjusted EBITDA of $114 million in 2020, guiding for $101 million in 2021. So that's the two deals, the headlines. Our calendar is starting to shape up nicely. One of the things we've seen now recently with some of this SEC regulation finally getting through is we're getting more vote dates announced. So our calendar filling out nicely towards the end of May and the start of June. We do have a vote tomorrow for ATAC. We have a vote for IPOE on the 27th, and then several votes in June. And then turning to earnings, we, of course, had Clover and STEM this morning. After hours tonight, we have XL and DNMR, and then Desktop Metal tonight as well. And then on the 20th, later this week, we have Genius Sports, GENI. And on the 24th, we have RIDE, RIDE. So I don't know where you want to start, Mitch. That Redbox deal, it looks very interesting because this is a rental DVD kiosk business. Doesn't have that high growth as the streaming players, but it looks like maybe they're trying to extend themselves into streaming. And, being done at a valuation of $600 million with revenue of, $500 to $600 million now and, $900 back in 2019. I actually think the valuation on this doesn't look too bad. And with that positive adjusted EBITDA, the question is, will they be able to grow in the streaming market now?
Yeah, definitely joining in here. One of the things that I want to say about that is what I would look for, and you talked about it. This is a company that's changing, not what you used to see it. If you think about it as what it was, then yeah, I'd probably run away. But that's not what it's going to be. I think that you're also going to start seeing some deals come with, let's say, HBO, Showtime, and you can also look for maybe a deal with Comcast or something like that. Because what I think they're going to start doing is, they're going to have some movies like on demand to offer you that are coming out. But they're also, what I think is going to happen is eventually they're going to try to make deals with movies that are in theaters and maybe present them in here in this app. That's what I would pay attention to. That's something that could get me excited about this company. But if I don't see any partnerships like that, then I'm going to definitely stick to more along kind of the streaming services that are doing this also. Like, let's say HBO, we saw the merger today with kind of Discovery. Definitely going to watch that because I think that those are the companies that are going to survive and kind of thrive in the next kind of 10 years in streaming. It's going to be the ones that offer exclusive titles, meaning that it's probably in theater. And then another thing that's going to happen is that it's not just only going to be those exclusive titles, but can you have some originals, and some works that you're seeing a lot of companies get into, like Roku. Roku's even doing this itself. It's going to come out with original shows also. So this is the game now, guys. It's no longer to the cords. It's cutting the cords. And how can you go ahead and make a kind of personalized experience for the consumer at home?
Yeah, and the other thing I liked was that pipe on this deal, Mitch. You got Thunder Road, which makes movies. Legendary Entertainment makes movies. I think they were involved in like the latest Godzilla movie. They're partnered with Warner Brothers. And you've got Lionsgate. Lionsgate's a huge movie creator, right? So maybe they get some of those exclusive titles that you talked about, and the biggest question is how quick can they transform and get rid of, part of this legacy business and transform into a streaming company. They do have a lot of revenue a year. So I do like that and the positive adjusted EBITDA. So maybe they're able to, turn some of that into growth. But, and someone pointing out in the chat, and I hadn't thought of this, but it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that anytime soon, is Vintage saying that they need to change the name of the company. Maybe that should have been part of the deal, today is, maybe rebrand themselves, right? Because when you think Redbox, you think, DVD kiosk. And if they don't want to be known as that anymore, might have to change it up a little bit.
Hey, the only thing I'd say about that is Netflix didn't change their name, right?
That is true. That is true.
And they accomplished this. The same thing.
So Netflix, I feel like when you hear that name, though, you hear net, which maybe leads you to internet. Whereas Redbox, you think box, you think the kiosk. So maybe Netflix was just ahead of the game with their name, and they thought that one out. I hadn't thought of that until now, Mitch.
Yeah, definitely one to keep on watch, guys. Now let's go ahead and let's get into what everyone wants to talk about, which is, of course, the story that is Ride today. So what's going on here, Chris, with Ride?
Yeah, so Ride is popping up, and the thing I found, because I was actually surprised because they were originally supposed to report earnings today. That's been delayed due to some refiling. So they're going to report on May 24th, so a week from today. But the news that I found is that from June 21st through June 25th, they're going to host a week-long event at their Ohio headquarters for investors, analysts, customers, and partners. So that includes factory tours, presentations, and test drives of the Lordstown Endurance all-electric commercial pickup truck. So, Mitch, this thing's been hit by short reports, and part of that was, that these trucks didn't really run well, and we saw them, race in that endurance race. And they didn't finish, but the truck did run. So they've proven that, and I think these factory tours and those test drives may go a long ways, in fighting off some of these short reports. So, that's in Ohio. Maybe we try to go get a factory tour during this event.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to start seeing is kind of they're going to start doing some marketing, guys. Pay attention to the marketing. Pay attention to who do they team up with. They've teamed up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah,
recently.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrows. You guys can see him here. I got a video for you guys. Look at him. Look at him. Oh, he's throwing a football. He's throwing a football, guys. Oh, look, work for it. Oh, look what's in the back.
Oh, there it is.
Lordstown
Nice.
Right there, guys.
And that's from the Bengals Twitter account. That's not even Lordstown's Twitter account. Nice marketing.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, Mitch. That's a good pull.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, guys. I'm keeping an eye out on this company, and I think they're going to advertise that truck like you've never seen before, guys. They're going to spend money. If they need to raise money to advertise, I think you might just see that. So that's another thing to keep in watch, because as the price comes back up and it spikes back up, I'd be careful for an offering, because if they do that offering, it could be because, hey, they're seeing how much their production they're going to need to do. They're going to need some more money. They're going to need to advertise to really get that truck back in the standing that everybody looked at first, which was, man, this might look like one of the best trucks that they have to offer, right, Chris? At least at first, when EVs first started coming, this one was compared to Rivion's truck, which is one of the leading trucks.
Yeah, and the thing here too is, we talk a lot about, first mover advantage, right? So the question here with Lordstown Endurance is how quick can they get that to market? You have competition coming from, Tesla with the Cybertruck, you have Rivian, and then also we've got Ford unveiling that all-electric F-150 later this week, but that one won't come out for another year. So Lordstown, it looks like they can maybe beat the competitors to market, which maybe gets them some early buying. Remember, the thing here, though, is they're focusing on the commercial fleet customers first. So I worry a little bit about, some of the consumer demand. How long is it going to take to get to, the average everyday Joe that wants this electric pickup truck, versus the commercial fleet customers? So that's another story to watch here, Mitch.
Yeah, guys, we'll definitely keep a watch on it. As you see the chart rocketing up there today, we'll keep an eye on it. Now is up, I think it got up there closer towards, now we're up at 17%, man. And what a move there by Ride. Rocket on up there from about 750s up there towards about almost $9. Next on our watch list, let's take a look here, see what other stocks got moving. We want to get into this and talk about the watch list. So what's better than play our watch list? All right, guys. All right. Trying to stay in here. Had a rough night, like they said in the chat. Definitely. And it wasn't because I'm partying. Looks like I got to go to that lovely place where they give root canals. I don't want to talk about it, but come on. Destroy the thumbs up like Born to Be Free says, guys. Help us out. Hit the thumbs up. Let's keep going through here and see what other stocks we see moving. Of course, I'm also seeing Fisker up today. Did that have news? I think there was something out, right?
Fisker did have news, so kind of a continuation. Last week they had that news with Foxconn. Today it was with Sharp talking about the in-car infotainment system. So as we talk about these electric vehicles, trying to differentiate themselves, Fisker going to have, a partnership with Sharp, one of the leading electronics companies. But to me, that Foxconn news last week was really big because they really went after that $30,000 price target. And that's for a car that's not going to be, start production until 2023. So we're a couple of years away. But Mitch, I think when we've talked EVs before, right, it's about getting that price down. I know I want to own an electric vehicle someday, but, I don't want to pay 60, 70,000. I think, if someone can hit that sweet spot and get these 30,000 or under, I think you could see some mass production demand out there from the market.
Yeah, I've said it myself, guys. You guys, EVs are all cool and all, but I mean, I'm not spending 40,000 on a car anytime soon. I'll keep in the 25s to 30 range, probably max. And if I'm spending over 30, I just feel like I'm just getting into luxury. So I do not feel these EVs are luxury right now, at least not all of them. And so definitely not my kind of play here. Let me get you to another stock here, guys. Playboy is up today, but is going to fight the trend. It's going to be very hard to continue moving up past that 60. So keep your eyes on Playboy. We'll see how that develops in the next couple of weeks. I would look for a pullback closer towards maybe around 30s. You get that 50% pullback, then you can see it continue with the next artist release. That's what I would look for. The next NFTs when those get released for another ride up. Next one up, we can point out Romeo here. Romeo not looking too bad, but definitely still on the downtrend, guys. Still on the downtrend. So we'll leave Romeo alone until we get the pop. If you guys want to know one that is on my radar today, and I put it on the radar after I saw the 3D stocks doing decently on last week, and then I saw this news that it was actually decent for me. So one that I'm going to keep a watch, Desktop Metals here. DM is definitely one to watch out, guys. I called this one out because I do like their recent partnership for their dental. What do you think about this one, Chris?
Yeah, but I'm sure you don't want to talk about that dental partnership today.
Yeah, let's just
Let's focus on their 3D printing as a whole. This is one that I own shares of, a while back, and I did sell for a profit. It's one I've been looking, to get back into. I believe in the long-term story. I love their partnerships. They can work industrial, as Mitch just said, that new segment they're entering as well. They do have earnings tonight, Mitch, so I'm excited to hear. The key for me with all those acquisitions, right, is guidance. Because those acquisitions aren't priced into the original guidance. Exactly. So when you buy out a company, how quickly can you add, that revenue to your own guidance, and how much can you help that acquired company grow? So I'm excited to hear more about that. And there's been a ton of 3D printing companies going public. I think Desktop Metal stands out, ahead of some of these other players with their partnerships. So very exciting to get to earnings later tonight.
All right, guys. Next up, definitely keep your watch on this one. We'll put this one on my radar. You are seeing some of the sentiment in 3D stocks kind of change. Triple D looking good too. You guys could probably look at this one. If you see DM get a big lift because of the earnings and the guidance, also you can look at Triple D. I know it's not a SPAC here, but definitely take a look at this one. And you see that kind of bottoming effect. Same thing you're kind of getting in DM. So if you look at that, look at this chart, bottoming effect. Let's see if it starts coming back up and trending back up there. All right,
Mitch, you know what I don't see on that watch list? Probably because we didn't want it on the watch list that's moving higher today.
What's up?
We got Nikola, NKLA.
Nikola.
I mean, that thing, I don't even know why it's moving today. It was up like 10% last I saw. That thing just continues to trade up. It's $13 today. This is one that
hold on. Are we talking Nikola, the only Nikola I know? Are we talking push me down the hill kind of Nikola?
We are, except today someone's pushing that truck up a hill.
Up the hill.
This thing is
climbing
up on no news. If anyone knows what the news is with Nikola, drop it in the chat. My guess is that people are just, circulating this as a potential short squeeze or something along that lines. But to me, there's not a story here right now. I would be careful.
The chart always points to the catalyst. So what you do is you look at this, right? When do we see some volume? When do we see some catalyst? Maybe this 22nd. What do we get on the 22nd? So let's go back.
Was that their earnings last?
Let's find out. We're going to move our way back there until April 22nd. Oh, looks like we don't even go that far there.
Can't go that far back.
Here. All right, I'll find it in the press releases. Here you go, guys. All right, so on April 22nd, we had what? Hydrogen fueling, right? And so this is what's causing the drive right now in my eyes. Why? Because what it means is that people bought in on that first spike, it pulled back, and now it's starting to get above those investors that jumped in for this play here. And so that's what I would watch for, guys. As you see it on that volume pop, what you're seeing is kind of a confirmation that people that bought on that day, the April 22nd, are seeing it start ripping on through. And the bulls are now going to hold probably towards that resistance there. So 1250 seems like a good line in the sand to me here. And now you want to see it start getting strong, get up there to 14, maybe pull back towards 13 again, and then start ripping back up. That's what you want to see for a continuation move. Another thing you can use is kind of this bottoming action here and see if it can continue this trend up. It pulled back a certain amount here on the 11th and touched the line and then came right back up. Look for kind of a pullback and then a continued trend on its way up. That's what I'd pay attention to on Nikola.
Yeah. Hey, Mitch, do you want to get to it looks like we have some breaking show news there in the chat. Speaking of Playboy, PLBY, this just in, it looks like our man Zoli has booked the Playboy CEO to come on SPAC's Attack next week. So how about that, guys out there watching? If you want to hear more about Playboy, that NFT trade, their consumer products, their licensing business, sexual health, all the stuff that they've got going on, we're going to get that exclusive interview next week. So shout out Zoli for getting that done. But yeah, excited to hear more about Playboy. Definitely, Mitch.
2 questions. Do we get a model and do we get Slime Sunday?
Right? Like that's the thing. I want to talk I want to talk NFTs because I feel like that's an exciting, event for them. It's exciting monetization of, all the digital assets that they have. But also, as I said, this is a strong, licensing business, right? That Playboy bunny logo is well known. They have strong brand awareness. So how is that business going? What areas are they growing in? And how can they transition, from that legacy, magazine business into the new business models that they've laid out as a public company. So very excited for that. So shout out Zoli.
Yeah, guys. I follow Slime Sunday here, and so I'm gonna watch to see if I'm gonna have to reach out to him, see if we can get him on too. Let him know, like, hey, we got the CEO on. We need you on, man. We need you.
Yeah, so that would be awesome.
Yeah, we gotta get the man behind the art and hear his story too. So I'm gonna definitely reach out, see if we can push him on to here also, guys.
Guys, smash the like. Another exclusive interview coming to SPAC Attack. So smash the like for Zoli for getting these bookings done. We need some likes today, guys.
Definitely. Now, one of the stocks that we have been watching and has been doing kind of a pullback action was kind of MUDs. So I want to bring up MUDs right quick because I know a lot of traders are keeping your eyes on this one. What I would wait for MUDs, guys, is I'm going to wait for a pullback till we hear news or rumor that the next cards are going to come out, the actual packs. So when I hear that, that's when I think we're going to get our next run in MUDs. So pay attention towards the release of that news, not just the burn process, every weekly process, but actually new packs being released out.
Mitch, did you hear the trading card news? I don't think if you and I talked about this off air. So this could actually be a negative for MUDs and tops. So Pokemon cards got the headline right that Target is pulling Pokemon cards from stores because they've had so many problems with demand, fights. Someone pulled a gun in the parking lot at one of their stores. So they are no longer selling Pokemon cards, but they also said sports cards will be taken off the shelves too. So that's Target stores nationwide, for at least the time being. So they will be sold online through Target store, but a lot of these people, you go to a store to buy cards up. So, could that be a story to watch for, physical cards as well? So, but as Mitch said, I'm excited to hear more about the next pack release from Topps because I think that could be a major catalyst. And also a new pack release could mean what, Mitch? Buying some packs and opening them live on air. So I'm excited for that too. And I know you guys out there probably are as well.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I'm going to go ahead and have to do a little burn process. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it on Money Mitch today. So it might just be here tomorrow, guys. If you guys want to see the burn process opening of a 1952 Redux pack, let me know in the chat, guys. Put MUDs in the chat because I also want to shout out to MUDs so that we can get their CEO on this show also. So definitely, guys, put MUDs in the chat. Let everybody know we want to see you on MUD CEO. And I'm going to actually send him a video of this chat so that he can see how much everybody wants him on SPAC Attack. All right, guys.
Let him know in the chat, guys. Let him know. Type MUD. MUDS. There it is. Tell them we know that symbol, MUDs.
Let's go, guys. Definitely going to keep a close eye on that. And the Pokemon cards is one of those things that I used to say, right, Chris? You can't shoplift the NFTs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing, guys. I mean, hey, those Pokemon cards must have been flying off the shelves, and the revenue's not matching inventory there. So. I'm definitely thinking that's another factor that played into those cards being pulled off.
Those small packs for sure.
Yeah, small packs, guys. I mean, yes, definitely. Looks like we want MUDs on, so we'll definitely send this out. We'll get this out to him, and we gotta get them on, And I'll bring the burn process for you guys tomorrow. Don't worry, guys. SPAC Attack is definitely worth it to me. I'll bring it on, and Money Mitch can just see NBA Top Shots. That's not a bad one either. I got one of those packs this weekend.
I heard
too.
You got a pack, Mitch. I got another pack, so I got a couple more to open. So we might have to do a special show, for Money Mitch with Top Shot again. So very exciting.
Let's get back to the SPACs before everybody starts killing us on this. Let's get
Mitch, I'll tell I'll tell you one that I'm watching. So I talked,
Let's
and
do
it's
it.
right there on the watch list. We have LEV, but how about a pair trade there? One that I recently went long is ACTC, ArcLight, which is another electric bus company. So for me, right, we just saw Governor Newsom of California announced a new EV package on Friday for I think it was $3.2 billion. That's going to include electric buses. We also have that huge EV package, in Congress right now, working on getting passed. And Joe Biden, remember, virtually toured the Proterra factory, and no deals have been announced since then. But I'm wondering if we see some electric bus deals announced. Lion got that big one this morning from Canada, but the U.S. still, has really not announced any large orders. So, I'm wondering when we see the makeup trade there as well.
Well, definitely. I'm a big fan of LEV. I've been a big fan. Going to continue being a big fan, and that's why I also like Arrival. I just think they're definitely advanced in their game and going to continue getting deals. ACTC, I'll tell you right now, guys, this is called a gap fill. A gap fill, guys. When you see a gap up like this, and then it fills the shadow on the way down, you got all this area where it built up volume in between that gap. Why? Because it needs to create some kind of lower support for when the stock gets back above this level to have some volume underneath it. And that's why it's actually a good thing that you're seeing a sideways trend here at support. Sideways trend at support showing you consolidation, and that the bears haven't really taken control, because they would have knocked it through the support and knocked it back down, let's say towards that $10 that we've been seeing some of these get knocked down. And instead what you're seeing is every time it comes near that support, it gets bought back up, pushed back up, bought back up, pushed back up. So this is actually 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth attempt here to get back up here. This is what I like to see, guys, on that fourth attempt. Now, if it could just hold this support, it's going to look good for me. ACTC looking good.
Mitch, how about Genius Brands? So I know you're a huge bull of this company. They have earnings coming up on the 20th. So we're going to get a look at them this week. What do you think? What are you going to be looking for in that earnings report? And also, on this chart here for Genius Sports.
Yeah, I've honestly just probably become even. I don't know if there's a such thing as being too bullish a stock, but I definitely have become too bullish on Genie. And one of the things that I said was on our happy hour for Money Mitch, I actually gave this stock as a stock that I would buy and never sell ever. Just keep it in the account and just keep it there, guys. Reason why is, and I said it on there and I'll continue looking at it, is partnerships. And always one of the things that I look at from any company is, can they separate themselves from the competitor? Because if you can separate yourself from the competitor, you become the best of breed. And once you become the best of breed, it's all about how you can grow your strategy, your business, to get it towards even a next level after that, and continue to separate that competition. And we all know the competition here, guys. It's going to be Sports Radar. And I've been seeing them lose to Genie consistently. And so I'm going to continue to see that trend. And I think Genie in the long run will actually put Sports Radar to the point where it's going to be pushing them out of the business.
Yeah, and I think one of the strongest things here, right, is that Genie was very well concentrated in Europe, right? That's where the majority of their kind of exclusive deals were. They're pushing heavily into the US, where Sport Radar kind of has dominated and hasn't had as much competition. You just saw Genie land that NFL deal, and they're starting to land some of these, US exclusive deals. I really like, the story here as well, that Mitch has been saying. I really think, and not to say Sport Radar might not be a winning pick long-term either, because they do kind of have this duopoly, but I think Genius Sports is going to start landing more of those exclusive deals, and I think is the one to own here. So, I really like Genius. Another one, Mitch, to talk about that I know you're bullish on, Rush Street Interactive, RSI, had earnings last week. Earnings were on either Thursday or Friday, one of the days when we didn't have a show. So I'll give you some of the numbers here. Their first quarter sales were 111.8 million. That beat an estimate of 96.3 million. And their guidance for the full year, they raised it, Mitch. So it was 420 to 460 million. They now say 440 to 480 million. And the street consensus was 442 million. So that new guidance looks very, very strong from the company. What do you think?
Yeah, I think right now what you're seeing is gambling kind of be out of favor, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be trying to get into a position like RSI or even GNOG or some other gambling plays here. This is when you can go ahead and definitely get a cheaper price than majority of the business. The business does not seem bad to me up there at 24 or 26. So I'm looking for this one to really just bottom out, but it's really going to be dependent on the industry leaders. You just got to keep your eyes on DKNG. You got to keep your eyes on Penn. Do these catch a bid? Do these come roaring back? Until these come roaring back, I'll say it on my opinion, I really don't think you're going to see RSI or GNOG come roaring back until you see the leaders come back into favor. And right now, it's just not there. Look at this chart on Penn. It's just not there, guys. We need to see some volume come back into this. One of the things that I would look for is another state going legal. I think there was talks of, was it Kentucky that just recently?
Yep, Kentucky. There's a couple other smaller ones. The big one for RSI could be New York, though, right? I think New York is the big one to watch because Rush Street has a key entry point in New York that could actually see them have a legal online sports betting app over the likes of Penn National. So that's a big story to watch. But I think you're right, Mitch. We've seen DKNG and Penn trade down. We do have earnings from GAN, I think, tonight. GAN isn't a huge online app provider, but they provide, the thing behind the thing. So maybe, is it today? Yup, today. So any comments from them maybe on some new wins or some new states, coming and how that affects, maybe that could start to bump up the online sports betting companies. But yeah, I mean, right now, I think you're right. We need to see DKNG kind of bottom here and start to trade back up. But, I think some of that growth built in was from these new state launches that need to happen still.
Yep. Just the one to keep on radar. Also, one that I'm looking at is IGT in that area. Also, let's see if this one continues going. This one's more into lottery, but look at this chart, guys. This is a chart that I'm definitely going to keep on watch. Look at the volume, 9 million shares traded. Definitely, this is one that I gave on Money Mitch, but it's in the same sector. Keep your eyes on that one. There's been talks of this one. It did get some deals, I think, out of Arizona to do their online sports betting. So keep your eyes on this one. And you're also going to see a lot of these new sports betting plays, I think, start getting some move before you see the Penn and DKNG really rip on up. So look for those smaller plays here. Let's keep going through. Let's look at some other smaller plays to take a look at. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about Tattooed Chef. I just don't know, man. This is not the story for me, but maybe that's just because I can't eat alternative meat. and I don't think I'll ever try it, but hey, who knows? To me, in an inflationary environment, it's not the stock to own, but it could move up. It could move up. My biggest thing is I just think that in an inflationary environment, I think with prices going up and up, you're not going to see people kind of push out that money to get the alternative meat option. I think, hey, we're going to take what we can get. If that's the 20% ground beef, I think we're going to take the 80% ground beef. But what do you think, Chris, in my crazy thoughts here?
I don't think you're crazy. And I mean, I don't eat much plant-based foods either. So it's hard for me to see some of the valuation. But I do like this one long-term. But the thing that really has scared me away, Mitch, they reported earnings last week. And I've been saying, right, that this new launch at Target and their partnership with Target was a key. And what happened? They They reported sales of 52.7 million, which beat the street consensus, but they left their guidance the same. So for the full year, they see 235 to 242 million, which is ahead of street estimate of 224. But the fact that they didn't raise it makes me think maybe the Target launch is not going as well as they anticipated, or they're seeing less demand, from another source. So I really wanted to see stronger guidance out of the company because I really thought that Target launch was going to be a key. So for me, I'm staying away right now. But, there's lots of plant-based food companies out there. I think this is one of the stronger ones, but just not the trade for me right now.
All right, let's keep going through, you guys. If you guys have one you guys want us to take a look at in the chat, definitely put it in the chat, guys, and we'll keep rolling through. Back to the top ramen days. You got it, man. You got it. Nothing like ramen, right? Sounds like me in my college days, but let's keep rolling through here. Let's roll to the next one. One that I want to talk about is, and we can take it off my list right here. Let's talk a little bit about IPOE. But really, when I talk about IPOE, I think this is a story that is going to change in the long run. But one of the things that I could see, guys, and I just want to put it out there, is I could see a pullback happen into this gap. So you still have this 13 where it wicked down one day here. It went to 13.14 on March 5th. But I think we could get a wick back down, and then eventually when this one de-SPACs, a rip eventually. So what do you think about this one, Chris?
Yeah, so IPOE, I did go long some calls a couple weeks ago. I don't own them anymore. It was actually a nice trade for me. I sold out of it. As you know, we got that positive catalyst of the merger vote that sent shares higher. But to me, there's two big stories I'm watching. And one, Spencer has been talking about, on pre-market prep as well, that bank charter, right? When they announced this deal, they said that they wanted to launch, online banking services. They needed a bank charter. They did acquire a regional bank in California, which should speed up that process. And then the other thing for me is, Mitch, they own this Galileo, right, which is the back-end technology that supports, some websites, almost like an Amazon Web Services. And I've seen the valuation estimates of Galileo as a standalone business actually higher than the full value of, SoFi. So interesting to see, how big of a growth driver that Galileo business could be. I don't think, they spin it off anytime soon. But what happens, on a sum of parts valuation once they go public? If any analysts pick up on that, I think that could be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's one of those plays that I think is a very long-term play, but I think it's one that you could definitely put into the bag and then just hold for a long time and then see it get up a significant amount over time. I think it's going to be a play that's going to take a little bit to develop. It's just, to me, it's not sexy, even though it is on a lot of people's watch. It's just not sexy. It's not in a sexy name. And I just think in the long run, what you'll see is a quick down move, de-SPAC, and then a rip up is what I've been looking for. So I'll keep waiting for that and keep an eye out for that. We'll look for that move. Let's look at another one. This is one that we could talk about. JWS still doesn't have a deal, right? It's on the rumor.
They do have a deal. JWS is that Cano Health? Yeah, Cano Health. This one's surprising, Mitch, that this one's trading so well because it's very similar to Clover Health, right? It's kind of a Medicare play. So maybe the difference here is that Cano Health, maybe was a little bit more conservative with their numbers versus Clove that wasn't so conservative. But JWS has performed, pretty well, still trading over $12, from that announcement. So interesting one here. But it has lost some support there, Mitch. It looks like on that chart coming down now.
Yep, definitely. I'm going to keep a close eye on it. It has a good bottom there at 1250. We'll see if it holds that and gets some volume push. No volume trading today on the up move. So definitely look to see if you get some volume. It needs that volume to continue running. All right, let's go ahead and let's get to the next one here.
Guys, drop tickers in the chat. We got 10
guys,
minutes left. Drop them tickers.
Let's
hit some more here. So anything you want to hear about, let us know.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and just take a look here at some other plays. One that I can, and I'll mention this one, UWMC starting to get a lift after that earnings that got a hit, but right now it's also pulling back here. So let's see what happens in these next couple of days. I think this one could get a lift. So you got to keep your eyes on it. But one of the things that I want to see it do is I want to see it kind of break out of this trend here. It came right up to that kind of, you drew a trend line from that top pattern there. If you drew it all the way down, it comes right now to the wick right now. So let's see if we can get past that wick, which is $8.70 or $9 on the upside. So I'd be looking for a pullback closer towards $7.50, if not $7.75, and then it ripped back up there towards $8 to get us really moving. One of the ones that you could see to see if this one really is going to get a move is, of course, keep with FOA. FOA did do a bounce back at 940 after it did a push up there towards 1160. So you can keep your eyes on that one. And for that case, you can just watch Rocket also, see if Rocket maybe starts making a move back up after their earnings where they got hurt here. Let's see if this starts coming back up. A lot of times Rocket loves to do this kind of gap down and then rip back up. So we'll see if this one kind of leads, gets back up there somewhere towards 22, and then you'll see UWMC get a lift. Definitely, guys, keep your eyes on that one. VLDR, that's a good one to start talking about as we're seeing bottoming action start coming back up. This is one that was fighting right there for a negative catalyst there for a while there, right, right, Chris?
Yeah, VLDR reported earnings, had some strong unit sales. These LiDAR plays have all fallen significantly down. As I've said, there's a lot of them out there. So kind of need to establish who's the market leader. And based on the unit shipped in that first quarter, VLDR, a pretty strong position in the LiDAR market. So, interesting to see if this one can start popping back up.
Yeah, just to mention, I mean, this is one that a lot of people were buying up easily at $22. So now that you can get it closer towards 10, which a lot of people wish they could have gotten it back then, let's say in October towards January time, hey, you could be looking for that $10 buy-in and looking for a hold at the bottom right now, which is a $8.97, guys. So let's pay attention. Let's see if it comes back up here, holds this 10. It's good, could be a potential to get back up there. One that I'm always going to keep an eye out for, because at the end of the day, I've talked about it. We need autonomous before we get EVs. That's what I really think we do. That's what makes people drive. That's what makes people get over the hurdle, is the technology to drive by itself. All right, we're seeing a lot of stocks being mentioned in the chat.
A lot of tickers flying.
Let's go to the first one here. PaySafe is starting to come back a little bit, so let's talk a little bit about that one. PSFE here. PSFE here. Let's take a look. See if this one's going to come back. Like I've talked about, a lot of these are coming back down towards 10. I actually said it with this one, that I think it could go back to 10 and then come back up. So keep your eyes on that right now, guys. One of the things is we got close towards that 10. We got 10.08.
10.08. It came close.
Yeah, let's see if we get a little bit of a pullback. I think you're going to get a sideways trend here for about a month, and then you can get it rip out. So that's what I would look for. I would look for bottom actions to kind of nibble into with a really tight risk underneath it. Look for these bounces to give you kind of a little bit of confirmation, showing you some strength. And then you'll look for kind of a real breakout candle, a real push up to show you confirmation. Hey, I got this one timed right. I timed in correctly, I sized in accordingly, and got the run back up. So definitely keep your eyes on that one. That's PaySafe, guys. Next up, we'll get into APXT. What's up with this one, Chris?
Yeah, APXT, I still think is a great long-term one. This one's come down to the $10 level too. This is the one that supports Microsoft's cloud business, right? For small and medium-sized businesses. Every time Microsoft reports quarterly earnings, the highlight is cloud, right? Cloud is where their growth is at. And APXT being a large partner in that business, I think sets them up long term. But I also think APXT, AvePoint maybe needs to extend themselves, right? And they started kind of sniffing around with like IBM, I think it was, where maybe they don't rely exclusively on Microsoft and they branch out a little bit. So I think that's a strong development. But this one, it needs some volume. It needs some support. It needs some catalyst. It's just fallen out of favor. It's not a sexy play, right? It's cloud.
Yep, it's one that I would honestly start dipping my toes in near this $10, just because I think in the long run, I mean, it's a company that's going to be around for a while. Now, is it something that's going to get to maybe $60 at one point? No, I don't see that happening anytime soon, guys. But can it get back up there to 17, 15s? Yeah, I do think it can. What I would look for now, guys, is I gotten kind of this 1 push down, 2 push down, 3 push down. Let's try to let it push down one more time and break this low. The low here, we got a 986 low. We want to let it test that 986 one more time. It tried to do it on this Harmy candle kind of day 2 days prior on the 13th of May. It went down towards a 990, but didn't get close towards that 986. Let's see if for any reason we get a test of that again, and then a push back up through this 1020 area with a big volume spike. That's what I would like to see. As you see, this stock hasn't really traded in kind of right now. It's trading about an average about a little bit under 1 million shares. So what we want to see is a spike about 3 million shares traded, and that could really start sending this stock moving here. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to, guys. I'll look for a 3 million, 4 million shares traded on APXT to show us that, hey, bulls are getting back in. All right, guys, let's keep going through here. Got a couple more minutes here, about 4 more minutes here, 3 more minutes. Let's get into the next one here. WPF by Todd. What's up, Chris?
Yeah, WPF, another one. It's just not a very exciting industry. This is A-Light. It never really took off. It got that one initial spike. If you look at the full chart there on the news, the announcement, but since then, it dropped immediately and it just really came back down. This is one I see breaking below $10 once the merger goes through. And I just don't know how quickly it's going to recover.
Yeah, there's 2 things that I think that can happen on this chart here, guys. Todd putting up there, WPF. I do see here on this chart that we are getting kind of this volume push here. It happened on the 12th of May, and it was 6.9 million shares. But then from that moment on, you've had 1.6, 1.8, and right now we're only at 192,000 shares traded. What we want to see that kind of share kind of boost again, about 6 million shares traded above kind of this 1030 level, pushing into the 1050. That could push it back up. There's somebody that either got out of a big position here or started a big position here. So that's what I'd pay attention to.
Mitch, if you look at the headlines on Pro, it looks like there was some block trades on May 12th. 962,000 shares and 500,000 shares on May 12th. So it looks like, yeah, a big buyer coming in.
I mean, the chart says it to me, and thank you, Chris, for at least confirming my
that's why we have Benzinga Pro, right?
Here.
Benzinga Pro with the news. That's how you trade, right? Is you get all the headlines right there. So you see the chart and you go back and look, and that's what it was.
Exactly. So I'm going to watch that to see if that block trader steps up again. So what do you want to see? You want to see another couple million shares traded through that level. So the resistance there is about this kind of 1015 level, 1020 level. Let's see if we get some big volume to push through there. What I would look for is look to see if he shows up on the level 2, guys. Look to see if he shows up on the ask right now at around 1020. If there's like a big order there just sitting there. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll put some pressure on the top side, let the stock go up towards that ask, and then they take it off the ask and they throw it on the bid right underneath to give it that kind of drive sensation. So it looked like the market maker was going to go grab that order that's sitting up higher. And what happens is they just pull it off and then they put it right underneath it to try to give it some supporting drive back up. So watch for that. Look for that on the level 2s. Look for that on the time and sales. And what you would want to see is some big orders going through, let's say 5,000 shares, 10,000 shares. And then you're seeing that roll through the time and sales versus, let's say, algorithmic volume, which is normally around that 100 shares. You see a lot of times when you're looking at time and sales, you just see 100, 100, 200, 100, 200. Those are that's algorithmic volume. You don't want to pay attention to that. Look for the big orders. The big orders show you the big boys, and that's what I always look for. All right, guys, let's keep going.
I saw a couple people call out FTOC in the chat, and I think it would be a great time to say that if you want to hear more about FTOC, don't worry, we've got Payoneer coming on the show this week. So we already heard from Betsy Cohen, of course. Why did FinTech announce this deal with Payoneer? But now we're going to hear from Payoneer on their growth ahead in the FinTech space. So for everyone excited about FTOC in the chat, tune in this week. You don't want to miss that interview.
Definitely, guys, stick with us as we get into more and more stocks. We're going to continue bringing kind of these different stocks, getting exclusive interviews, talking about what's on our watch list, what's moving, how we can go ahead and attack these. And I think over time, we're going to continue to see some be big winners and some be big losers. So definitely you got to watch out, do the research, and stick with Benzinga SPAC's attack. Really, that's what we're here for, guys, is to get you the information so that you can be informed in the SPAC industry. There's too many people out there that don't even know what a SPAC is. So if you're here, you're definitely in the right place. You're going to learn not only what SPACs are, but different stocks, information about them, interviews, analyst ratings, and also different strategies to go ahead and attack them. So definitely hit the like up, hit the subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Power Hour is coming up next. So definitely hit the like. And what else we got? What else? Anything else for Chris?
We got a couple SPAC experts this week, and as I said, Payoneer, and then next week, you guys heard it here first on today's show. We have Playboy Group CEO coming on Monday. So guys, don't go anywhere. Tune in to SPAC's Attack every day, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Smash the like. Let us know that you want this show to keep going and to bring the best guest here. Stay tuned for Power Hour coming up next.